Thank you for coming back to the Dickinson Adventures. Today we're here with Miss Lisa from Green Harvest Gardens in South Carolina. So she's here and she's going to tell us a little bit more about her property and share some of her knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for visiting. It's been great having you guys here all day. This is my little farm. It's a big piece of my heart. It's a little farm, but it's a huge piece of my heart. It's only about 3 acres. And I think right now it looks like maybe we're farming on less than an acre even. But it is, I think, the start of the rest of my life in terms of, you know, everything we've put into this and the goals we have for it. Like, farming is our thing, and like this is like step one.
Okay.
You know?
That sounds really good. Most of the time when we see people farming, like, we always wonder, like, is this something that was passed down through your family? Is it something new for you?
So it's funny because actually it was and wasn't passed down. It was passed down with plants. And I was showing you earlier the monsteras.
Yeah.
Like, we have a mother plant that we've had for generations, and I finally got that plant, you know?
Yeah.
And it started with that, and it was indoor plants for me initially. And then I was like, well, if I can grow this, I can grow some of the vegetables I like to eat, and I don't have to pay for them. I know where they're coming from, you know, organic, blah, blah, blah. And so I started growing things on my own when I lived in Atlanta. In the front of my house, in the middle of the West End, which is really city, you know. I had my little peppers and my tomatillos and eggplants and things of that nature, and it did well. And it was just like, from there I was just like, I know what I want, you know.
Yeah. So you found like peace and stuff with the lifestyle. Okay. And that's mostly what we feel too when we garden. Another thing I want to ask is, what would you say is like your specialty? Something that you specialize in or anything like that?
I would say tomatoes and exotics. So I'm really big on like exotic fruits and trying to push the boundary a little bit. Like right now we have some passion fruit growing, and I'd like to really be able to overwinter that. It's really hard to, because, you know, it dips down pretty cold out here. You know, 20 degrees is too much for planting crap. But yeah, so exotics, like I said, the passion fruit, yucca, taro, which is yautía, and yeah, it just and then tomatoes, because I like variety. Yeah.
Okay, well, how long have you been doing this? Just asking.
So here, a year and a half, and it started with a little 4x8 garden bed that was right over there. And it was, I mean, I had everything jam-packed into it. It overgrew and actually caused me some stress towards the end when I was like, how do I even get to the vegetables? I know they're in there, but I can't see them.
Yes.
So it started with that, and like I said, that little garden in Atlanta. So now, I would say, including that little garden, 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Oh, that's a good amount of time. I wouldn't really consider you a beginning gardener.
Well, you know what though? Like, it's like one of those things where it's you want to say that, like, oh, in 2 years, 3 years, you should know enough, and I don't know anything yet. Man, I'll do something. I'm like, yeah, this is it, because this is the way, and then. And then I look at it after it's grown, and I'm like, man, I screwed that up, didn't I? Like, I really thought I knew. But I don't know anything, and I'm gonna continuously learn. So I'm a beginner for a while. Okay. I'm gonna slap that beginner farmer on my forehead and wear it proudly for some time, because that means that I'm in the most absorbent period of my career, because I can admit that I'm a beginner, and I'm gonna be taking in all that knowledge and those beautiful lessons. So yeah, I'm very much still a beginner.
Okay. So you consider yourself to be a beginner.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we got that on record, y'all. She says she's a beginner, but
I'll admit it.
I don't think so. Because while we were talking, you were telling me that you've already been to market. So to me, in my mind, with me being, in my mind, I'm a beginning gardener. I've never been to market. Right. I don't have a crop. I haven't produced anything.
Oh, I see.
So I just want to know, though, for the people who are interested, like, can you tell us about going to market? Just a little bit on what your experience, what it entails. Yeah.
So, I mean, I started to laugh because when you said I've been to market, I'm like, I've been to it. Did I flourish? No. So we kind of just sat back and we were just like, screw this, we're gonna go to market. And we even looked at you and we're like, what if we don't have enough products? So we go to market and we sell our smiles. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we didn't really have that much. Our tomatoes didn't start producing until like 2 weeks after everybody else's, because we put them in the ground too late. We should have started them out indoors, and we did, but we didn't water them in time, so we ended up having to direct sow. Long story short, lots of lessons. Yeah. You know, so we went to market. We have a table spot in market, and we will continue to always have that table spot there. And as long as we have something to sell, we will sell it. But it was just more about making a name for ourselves, you know. So my suggestion, and if I could give anybody advice, is just, even if you're not ready, go for it. Because you're going to learn while you're there. You're going to analyze the other farmers who are sitting at the table, who have all their crap together. Like, they got it all down pat. Yeah. You know, we were sitting back and we're like, we got like 2 baskets and their entire table. You can't even see their table. You're like, where's the table holding up the produce? You know?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where we dove into it. So, yeah, we've been to market. But, I mean, you know, there was days where we didn't sell much, you know, and there was days where we felt like almost embarrassed that we even came out the door, you know, for a second. And then you think about it and you're like, all right, even if I'm not monetarily gaining, I'm gaining so much in knowledge.
Definitely. And that's worth more than money.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right. Exactly.
Another thing that we always want to highlight, just to kind of help our viewers, are challenges that come with this industry. So if you have any challenges you don't mind sharing with the viewers in regards to the land, growing, anything that you think was a big challenge.
I think getting the watering system down.
Yeah.
In terms of like actually growing and like the process that it took with even this small space here and the greenery we have all around the place. Yeah. Watering it. Because we were like, all right, small garden, we don't need to set up a sprinkler system just yet. So it was the whole process of, you're assigned to mornings and you're assigned to evenings. But what if morning person has a job all day and evening person has to go to a parent-teacher conference? Yeah. Nobody's watering the yard, you know, and that destroyed our tomatoes. It caused blight in some of our tomatoes from overwatering. Powdery mildew became an issue. You know, all those things that could have been not avoided completely, but scathed had we had proper watering down. So that, definitely that. And then we're in a very sunny space. I don't know if you can see, like, what time is it now? Like 5? It's late afternoon. Yeah. The sun has not stopped.
Yes, it is hot.
We get direct sun, yes. And this yard does not get shade, period. Now, there's not one time of day that there's shade in this yard. Okay. So things like leafy greens, like we tried, but we need to put shade cloths. Yeah. So next year, that's something we're gonna learn. So difficulties is getting the sun position correct, getting the watering correct, because that is very important, and soil composition.
Okay. So you use like compost for your soil, or
so
what do y'all use?
We have our chickens in the middle now. Next year they're going to be built out into a different space. But what we were doing is we actually using some of their stuff and mixing that in and composting that, and then turning it over back into the garden. And right now they're in the garden now because we're not using it, so they're fertilizing it for us. Okay. They're going through their pet. Yeah. They're dropping their droppings. We're not going to be farming there because we're actually taking a season off to relocate everything. Okay. And to reorganize it in a better way. Now that we've learned, you know.
Definitely.
So right now they're composting. So we have that, and then we've brought in, I don't know, probably like 2 truckloads of overall of compost and topsoil, and we've mixed it. Wow. And we had poor drainage in certain spots, so we had to amend it in certain spots there, and other spots too much sand, so we had to add sphagnum. So it's a lot of different things that we've added to it just to make it work. But moving forward, I think we're going to probably stick a little more to compost.
Okay. Well, that sounds really good. And even though you had those challenges, this is a really beautiful property. I just love all the different plants and animals and things like that. If you could give any advice to someone who doesn't grow, doesn't prep, doesn't do anything, what advice would you give for them in order for them to be self-sustainable?
Start with 1 seed.
1 seed, y'all.
Start with 1 seed. It doesn't matter what it is. You have a tomato sitting on your counter. You have a cucumber sitting on your counter. You have, I don't know, you have a cut of basil in your fridge. You don't even need a seed. You just stick it in water. Watch it grow. Then eat its fruit. And then that's all you're going to need. All you're going to need, because it's going to taste different. You're going to feel a sense of accomplishment. You're going to know where it came from. And you're going to know this is something I can do, you know? So just start with one seed. That's it. And then take it from there.
Right. That's some really good advice. We've heard of a lot of farmers that just start too big, too fast, and then everything just fails. So we really appreciate that knowledge. And we appreciate you inviting us out here.
Anytime. You're always welcome.
All of the different knowledge. My kids running around playing with your kids. I know they appreciate it. But we just want to say thank you from us at the Dickinson Adventures. And thank you all for watching. And we hope that you come back for another episode of the Dickinson Adventures.